time for more on what's happening in the Houses of Parliament. I'm Jada Francis. Take care. A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica's poverty rate has dropped from 16.7% to 8.2%. As the government's economic program begins to pay off, our country is heading towards sustained growth. We are building Jamaica. The time by the office of the Prime Minister is
10 minutes after 9.
You're inside the Consumer Hour with Nora Gay Banton.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday, November 13, 2025. We are alive and well, and for that, we give God thanks. Good morning to you. If you're listening on the 90 FM band, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, or 90.9, thank you so much for joining us on your radio. We appreciate your company there. If you are listening and watching on our YouTube channel, good morning to you. The channel is Nationwide 90 FM. Live 2. That's Nationwide 90 FM LIVE with the number 2 beside that. So go on over there and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I want to say good morning to all those who are in the YouTube chat, active already. SH is first in the YouTube chat this morning. Good morning to you, SH. And it's Campbell Murray, top of the morning to you as well. David Nebar, good morning to you. Ryder 40, good morning to you. Rupert Wilson, top of the morning to you, Sir Rupert. Karen Granville, good morning to you. Gillian Coleman. Katie Buello, good morning. Everton D. Cherry Care, good morning to all of you over there in the YouTube chat. Monique Hunter, Hugh Donaldson, and all the others over there on YouTube. Big up on yourself. Good morning. If you're listening from our mobile app, Revo News, available for free on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. Top of the morning to you as well, and those on our website revonews.ai, listening or watching, good morning to you. Thank you for making it Nationwide 90 FM. This morning inside the Consumer Hour, we will be taking your calls, so the phone lines will be open for you. If you have any consumer related matters at this time, you can give us a call. The numbers to call 876-630-9371, and that goes up to 4 and 618-6730. So that's 630-9371 or 630-9372. You can also try 630-9373 or 630-9374, and our Digicel line is 618-6730. Also, just to let you know that if you are trying to call or main number, for general business, Kevin, if you could put up that graphics, I don't know if it's still available. If you're trying to call nationwide, if you usually call or 630-1210 number, 630-1210, that is down right now, but there is another number that you can call nationwide for business. Let me just find that number for you, because I know many persons have been trying to get to us, but you have not been able to do so. Let me see if I can find it. Not seeing. Okay, here it is. So the number is 876-618-6731. 618-6731. So if you're trying to call Nationwide just for, general business, whether it be for sales or just any other matters that you need to speak to Nationwide about, and not necessarily speak on air, the number to call is 618-6731. 618-6731. And that's for all our partners out there, everybody who has been trying to get to us. The number to call is 618-6731. We're up on a break, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will take your calls and your comments in the YouTube chat. And we do have some updates for you from the NWC and some other general information that I think is important for you to note.
Decorate and redecorate your space with water-resistant, colorful, and fast-drying paints from Edgechem Paints. The time by Edgechem Paints, changing lives 1 gallon at a time, is
9:15.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. I have no house, I have nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need desperate help.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation. Unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Give us strength. Never let I fail.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're back here inside the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM. Just before I go back into the program, I want to say happy birthday to a good friend of mine, Shaveen Jones Gordon. Mrs. Gordon, happy birthday to you. I hope you have an amazing day, and may the Lord continue to bless you and keep you, my friend. All right? Big up yourself, Shaveen, every time. All right, so we're gonna go back to we're going to go to the phone lines now. Fergie is first. Fergie, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Nora. I'm really coming like a John the Baptist.
John the Baptist?
Yes. Or like Michael in the Blue Mountains, calling about the coffee.
Uh-huh.
Every day. My concern now is with food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the basic bread. Bread is one of the most basic items you can have in our country, right?
Mm-hmm.
From way back in the ancient days. One of the safest food, one of the cheapest food by. Anyway, the main thing I call about is that why are we having GCT on the most nutritious bread, which is bran and whole wheat bread? There should be no GCT on those products, because those are for the people, the poorer people who can't afford. They need the nutrition more than anything else. They can't even afford supplements and those things, right? So why are we having GCT on those products? bran bread and whole wheat bread. They should
But
remove
isn't
GCT from them.
isn't whole wheat bread isn't it the same price for the whole wheat bread like the white bread?
No, sir, it's more expensive.
Whole wheat
bran
bread is when you say brand bread, when you're talking about national brown bread versus the white bread.
All right, yeah, people mix up brown bread and bran bread.
Okay, you're talking about whole wheat brand
whole wheat
bread.
is the entire wheat.
Okay,
right?
so you're saying
And
those should have no tax.
Right, and the bran bread now is really the external part of the kernel.
All right, I follow you. I follow you. So you're saying there should be no tax on that because those are healthy foods that persons should be eating.
And that should be encouraged.
And they should be making it more affordable for people to eat.
Right.
So
Especially the
if
poorer people
got
who can't afford supplements, you know.
Got you. So if we follow that logic now, what else would we have to take tax off?
Well, anything made with bran and wheat.
You know how many items that would encompass?
No, man, I'm not talking about regular bread, you know.
I'm not talking about. I know. I remember I asked you for the clarification, you know, and I got that from you.
Yeah.
And I'm saying if we should follow the logic of what's healthy should be affordable, and tax should be removed from it, then where would that take us?
Take us to biscuits, crackers, bread and crackers. Those are the things in the baking industry that you have.
Oh, so it's just the things in the baking industry that you want to take the tax of, not healthy food in general.
No, that's what I know about in the baking industry. And those are finished goods already prepared, you know.
I see. Noted. Well, you know, I don't know. It's a suggestion, but I don't know if it would be practical. If you should think about it fully and what it would mean if you should follow that logic through and through, what it would mean for removing tax from items that follow in your description there. But I hear you.
Just encourage people to eat more of those healthy products, you know?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Well, Fergie there. Thank you so much, Fergie, for calling. Alric, good morning.
Morning, Nora. Wagwan.
Morning. I come back after I buy my lunch when you come up here the other day and you disappear.
Did not disappear. Remember, I live at St. Elizabeth, you know. You don't get no stamp, but I know I would call you and I would coming back one day. You're asking me a tour of the whole place.
Okay.
Impressive. No wonder I know I go on. So, I mean, that's even first world. That's a bigger than first world.
What you say? Tyrone jealous, Tyrone too far.
You get jealous. Who did tell him to go? Yeah, man, I know when me not believe because I don't know me have to come back at Sente and thing and thing.
Yes,
but
understood.
Thanks to the shout out and thanks to all of you guys who people sacrifice. You still not get back no light yet.
Boy.
But me have shout out all of my nationwide family who are try get me and can't get me. If ask me if me alive and kicking, the kicking part gone, but me alive. Me at least I look out the kicking part.
Oh, jeez. But you're alive. And once there's life, there's hope.
So the whole of my nationwide family will show me out Cleveland, everybody who can get me call Papa and all that. Whole part of people, the Gene, them and Delva, them just not stop call for Fountain, right? Call from Abad, Linton and them people. Big enough thanks to the concern and me good.
All right.
You know, me good.
All right, so that's a check-in from Alric, guys. Yeah, Alric is okay.
Me, all right, man.
Alric
I'll come back next week, Nora, so you will tell me next week.
All right, I hope you don't come when me gone.
No, man, I gotta make sure come in the morning when this in the morning time when we know so we not did it.
All right then.
I'm big up on yourself, big up the station. I get no back last night down at Junction. I go
nice.
back
Good.
but me I listen to you now.
Good.
Big up all of my nationwide family and friends, and big up nationwide the station that keep us informed.
All right, big up yourself, Alric, and please stay safe.
Well, Melissa gone, you know.
Yeah, but I hear say some rainfall in Hanover last night and flooding again and all kind of something. So I don't know if it's last night or yesterday, but yeah.
No, boy, when I sit on the phone and thing, I water come on me a couple times. It's really bad, boy. It's going to take a struggle, but I want the people them stay strong. And the man them move, it is alleged that teach the people them things to stop it, man, because them not needed it. Things to go to the people them who get destroyed. Only what them looking at themselves and know the wrong thing that them are doing, stop it.
Yes,
right,
indeed.
Big up on yourself.
Yes, Alric, big up yourself as well. Yeah, man. So Alric is okay, guys, for all those who've been trying to reach Alric. Alric is fine and he is alive. Him say him not kicking, but him alive. And once there is life, there is hope. There are, I said before the break that we had some advisories, some information for you or listeners. So the first thing is that China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, is advising residents of Stony Hill who usually travel via Seaview Road to use alternate routes. This as the company is undertaking remedial work on the road as part of the government's Spark program. CHEC says the work is expected to last 3 months, and the alternate routes include Liscombe Drive, Castle, Paisley, and Redgate. All right? So if you live in the Stony Hill area and you usually travel via the Seaview Road route, CHEC is asking you, that's the China Harbor Engineering Company, asking you to use different routes for now, as they are doing some work on the road, and this road work is expected to last for about 3 months. It's under the Spark program. So the other routes you can use: Liscombe Drive, Castle, Paisley, and Redgate. All right. Have some more, but let's go back to the phone lines for now. Mr. Gray, good morning.
Morning. Yes, I'm calling on behalf of my cable and internet from last week, Monday. I have no TV service. And I went to GCell in Ligani, Sovereign, and paid $18,900. Think the bill it cut off. The phone it didn't cut off. But it didn't cut off.
You went where? Where are you located, first of all?
Long Mountain.
Okay.
And I went down there and I paid $18,000.
Long Mountain in which parish? Let me just clarify.
St. Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, the very stuff.
Right.
And I went and I paid the money with the knowledge that this cable cut off. And they say I will get it back in 15 minutes. Up to today, there is no 15 minutes.
So it was cut off because of a lack of payment previously?
No.
Why was
No.
it cut off before?
It never cut off.
Oh, you
But
thought.
I
Because you
thought
said the
it cut
knowledge,
off.
I thought that
Yeah.
you were aware that that was the reason. So you were getting no internet and cable service,
No cable, no internet.
and you thought that they had cut it off.
Good.
So you went to the flow location where?
No, not true. Digicel.
Digicel, where?
In Sovereign, Ligani.
Sovereign, and you paid
Pay $18,900.
for what exactly?
So says my bill.
That's your monthly bill?
Monthly bill, I take out 11,000 bill, and I said, 18,000, 19,000, 16,000. So I just work with it because I can't do nothing more with it.
So the bill that was outstanding was 18,000.
That's what I see on the phone.
Okay.
But after I can't get the service and I keep calling them tell me from 24 hours to 48 hours somebody will be there and this and that and no. I went down there yesterday and I go on downtown yesterday and I go on bad. Terrible. Terrible bad. And the lady will look at me and tell me that's why I'm going bad.
So you went to Sovereign when?
Not Sovereign, don't buy digital.
No,
don't buy downtown.
previously you said You said you went to Sovereign.
Last week, Tuesday.
Last Tuesday, and you paid the bill and they told you it would be back in 15 minutes.
15 minutes, good.
And that 15 minutes has not come yet.
Oh, no.
And then you went to the downtown office yesterday.
Yesterday.
All right. And what did they say then?
The same thing they might tell me, 24 hours to 48 hours. And after me go on Monday to Wednesday, that's about 500 hours. I'll go and bad down there. And the lady will tell me that she sees on her computer to repair on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But before she told you that, did anybody that you spoke to before tell you that there was an issue with the system, that it needed to be repaired?
No. They only telling me because my two neighbors have them internet and them service.
Right. So there's clearly something wrong with your line.
Right.
Okay. So they're saying now that someone is scheduled to come on Friday.
That's what they're saying. But what I am saying, I'm only call the program for let the Jamaica people know that them don't buy nothing from no service from digital. Leave them alone. Leave them out for they're not good. And then this and it.
But what the people them are gonna buy? Cause the next one had the same story, you know.
But I went to my neighbor house from Tuesday evening. I got my neighbor house go watch my cricket. And when Sunday evening, when I even tell me say one guy in bed 8 minutes to 11. Say one guy in bed, so I have to come over my house. I'm waiting for my comfort, and this is why it aggravates me, upset me so.
I don't mean to laugh, but all right. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna take your information, but I'm also gonna ask you to, since they said that it's in the system that someone should come on Friday, yes, that's what they say, and that's what
I can't believe
we have to take that. And it's fair for you not to believe them, because you've heard before 15 minutes and it has not been back. You've heard before 24 hours and it's not been back. And so you're here again today.
Them stop take all my calls because I talk to everybody that work at this building.
So I am going to say give them one last chance. We are still going to take your information, but tomorrow is Friday. So give them till tomorrow, and then now if Friday passes and then nothing, then we can call out Digicel for you. But Digicel, please note that Mr. Gray here is waiting on you on Friday to come and fix his internet and cable service. He has paid his bill. He does not owe you, right? So he's asking you to just do the right thing and fix him thing so that him can watch him cricket and go about him usual daily activities, right? So if Friday passes, Mr. Gray, and nothing, then we will call out Digicel for you, put you on to somebody who should be able to get that up and running, all right? So stay on the line just the same. All right, we're past the break, so we're going to take a break and come back with more of your calls.
Spectrum Insurance Brokers provides quality insurance coverage and risk management services. The time by Spectrum Insurance Brokers Limited, setting the industry standards, is
9:33.
Ho, ho, ho! And what would you like for Christmas?
A paint tough enough for my messy grandkids. Perfect color matching for my living room.
Paint that covers in fewer coats, you know. A finish that stands up to sun or rain, you know.
BH Paints has you covered. Now up to 25% off.
Be one of the first 200 monthly to register on championsofcolor.com and get a free gallon of BH New Ultima Advanced Formula. No purchase required.
All I want for Christmas is BH Paints.
Discounts available at BH Paint stores and participating hardwares.
Dear listeners, trying to reach us? Contact us at 876-618-6731 for updates, assistance, or general queries. We appreciate your patience and look forward to connecting with you.
Good morning, good morning. You're back here inside the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM. I am Nora Gay Banton, and I said we had some additional information for you. Just to repeat the one I said before, the China Harbor Engineering Company is advising residents of Stony Hill who usually travel via Seaview Road to use alternate routes. This as the company is undertaking remedial work on the road as part of the government Spark program. Check says the work is expected to last 3 months, and alternate routes include Liscombe Drive, Castle Paisley, and Red Gate. So apparently there is a media briefing happening now. It did not start at the usual 10. It started at 9 this morning. So we are going to go straight to that live feed from Jamaica House.
Saved and been put away for preservation so that the people would not have lost that. So the question is, when is it going to recede? When is it going to really start receding? That is something that we can't say immediately. However, the other question is, how fast will it take to go down once it starts receding? Well, that is once it starts receding, our gauges are there. We can monitor those gauges, and then we can now give an estimate of how long it will take to recede. The last time, June 2002, in early June, the flood started, and the end of June, it had basically receded. So in that instance, once it started receding, it took about 3 weeks. We will see what is happening here in this case. And that is the situation, essentially, for Content Manchester. There are other areas, Minister. I don't know if you want anything to be said. Okay, so we are monitoring other areas, of course. We are monitoring the Newmarket area, which is traditionally known for flooding. We're monitoring Chigwell, again, that has flooded out in the past a number of times. We're monitoring Monique in St. Anne. In Cambridge, in St. James, there is some amount of flooding there, and that is because the river, the Sevens River, has broken its banks. And it is not groundwater in this case. It is now the river that has basically diverted in through the community, similar to what has happened with Cave River and also Brighton outside of Santa Cruz. These places have been terribly devastated, and in all instances, it's not groundwater rising. In some instances, it is rivers that have broken their banks, and in some instances, it is just a phenomenal amount of rainfall that flowed down into these depression areas. But once the communities are built out in the areas that are low-lying, it is anticipated, unfortunately, that if groundwater rises or if there's a lot of surface water running in, that there will be some amount of flooding, which is exactly why our friends at the Met Office say that the people in the low-lying areas need to be extremely cautious and take heed and all of that because of the possibility and their vulnerability to flooding.
Thank you, Peter. So in summary, the Water Commission has been impacted by Hurricane Melissa to the tune of $10.28 billion, and that includes its restoration and repair work that must be done, purchase and rental of generators, and of course fueling of generators, purchase of additional water trucks, as well as engagement of private suppliers, and running lift stations 24 hours a day in some cases where it is safe to do so, and of course purchase of water tanks. The primary takeaway we would ask that the media and the public take away from this discussion is the inextricable link of power and your water distribution. We cannot restore water where there is no power. We are working very closely with JPS, and we will start this evening, Delano, publishing the list of pumps by parish which are awaiting power so that persons are clear. We will also work with JPS so that by this weekend we'll be able to give projected times. Projected times may not be what you want to hear, but it will be our best estimate of when we are able to supply you. Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you very much, Minister Samuda, for that update. And you heard you're going to be getting all of the information on the systems that are not up and that rely on JPS and some estimate of time. And I think that explanation on the aquifers and the rising water was absolutely excellent, because a lot of people have been asking, and I've seen it in content and Brighton Road off of Santa Cruz, and it is quite scary when you look at it and you're like, why is there all this water here? And so it's very good for you to explain to Jamaica that. And so I hope you'll stay with us so that if there are any more questions that we can get them answered. Up next, we have our minister that is responsible for roads, and after a Category 5 hurricane, you would expect that there would have been a lot of damage to our roads, a lot of blocked roads. But Minister Morgan and the NWA team have been working very hard to clear those. And so this morning, he will be presenting to you on the work that has been done and work to be done, because it's not a perfect situation out there. And so there's still quite a bit of work to do. And so this morning, we welcome Minister Robert Nesta Morgan to come and give his update on the roads.
Good morning, colleagues. Awaiting on the presentation to be brought up. Morning, members of the media, and also members of the support teams. Thank you very much. And thanks to those online. I just want to give a short presentation about some of the work that we've been doing and an update as to where we are now, as well as a preliminary outline as to the cost of Melissa to our road and drainage infrastructure. So the National Works Agency, immediately after Hurricane Melissa and even before, began a, this thing is not moving properly. Okay. So at the beginning, I want to outline the role of the National Works Agency, which is basically to provide access, support, safeguard vital assets, and monitor flood control systems. Before the hurricane, we would have expended about $400 million to prepare for it. But as many of you may realize, you cannot drain clean for a Category 5 hurricane. So we would have also pre-positioned equipment across several parishes, but some of that effort actually did not manifest itself in a positive outcome, particularly in Black River, where a lot of the equipment was essentially marooned when the storm surge cut off a section of the road where the equipment was. But in other areas, the equipment was able to be mobilized quickly. Immediately after the hurricane, we did our quick impact survey and found that 370 roads were essentially impacted, but we were able to clear most of them, about 85% of them, within 5 days. We prioritized routes that dealt with hospitals, airports, and would provide needed supplies to areas that were impacted. We also had a lot of coordination with ourselves and the ODPEM and focused on rapid clearing. Really want to give credit to the Jamaica Defense Force and also the citizens who have helped a lot in clearing some of the roads that we have that were impacted. Currently, last week we had about 61 roads that were blocked. Currently we have about 30, as you can see. The number increased from 370 the last time I presented to now it's 396 roads affected. And the issue with the disaster is that sometimes you clear a road and it becomes blocked again, as was the case in sections of St. James over the last 48 hours, where we did clear a lot of the roads in St. James, such as Adelphi, but because of heavy rains, those roads became blocked again and we had to reopen. We have 123 roads that are 2 lanes and 248 that are single lanes. And as time goes by, you will see the number of block roads being reduced. Importantly though, we can report that only 2 roads in Westmoreland, which is essentially a center of challenge, are blocked, though we have a lot of blocked roads in places like St. Elizabeth. And we will be publishing a list of all the roads that are blocked and cleared. I just want to give you an example of some of the work that the teams have been doing, both citizens and public sector teams. I want to also give a shout out to the Forestry Department, who have assembled a team of sawmen and are heavy in places like Trelawney, where we have some very large trees, some of them at least 7 to 8 in width, which normal sawmen were not able to fully deal with. So the sawmen have been an important part of our efforts, as well as local backhoe operators and citizens as well, and we want to really thank the citizens. What you see on your screen is an example of some of the challenges that we have faced in clearing some of the roads, especially in the hilly interior. This breakaway, when you measure it from the top all the way to the asphalt, is higher than the backhoe that is seeking to clear it. A part of the challenge with also this type of landslide is that the soil is also unstable. So we have to be very cautious in how we deploy equipment and personnel into these areas, as we do not want to further cause damage or cause a loss to life. So this is just one example of some of the challenges that we have faced in trying to clear some of these landslides. We also have had to deal with a lot of bamboo, particularly in the Holland bamboo area. Bamboo is one of the more difficult type of vegetation to clear, especially when it is crushed, because it intertwines itself and it requires a lot of sawmen, a lot of cutlass men, and so on. I just want to make an announcement. Due to the curfew that has been imposed, I think we have now gotten an opportunity to do a better job in the Holland bamboo area. We did a lot of clearing in Holland bamboo, and we were able to create a corridor for people to move through, but there's still some bamboo sticking out. So we're not able to put heavy equipment there while a large portion of persons were trying to traverse to bring aid to their families and aid convoys were going through. So now that we have a curfew, we will have an opportunity to put some heavy equipment in that area. I want to also point to you some of the types of damage that we have seen, not just in the areas of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, but places like Southern Trelawney. When you go there, this is the type of damage you're seeing, where sometimes 50 to 60% of the road is cut off. This is typical of places like Southern Trelawney, where the hydrology and the geology is different from Northern Trelawney, which is of a different soil type. This is going to require significant investment over a medium to long term in order to build retaining walls to ensure that people are able to traverse these corridors over time. We've also seen the destruction of fordings. This fording is actually in northern Clarendon. It takes it to a place called Trouthall Pass. Now, this fording is essential as it gives access to approximately 300 residents to cross the river. This fording has been destroyed. So we have had several fordings across the island which have been destroyed, so we will have to do repairs on that. We've also seen, due to scoring, roads have been, the asphalt has been washed off the top of the roads. It has exposed water mains, and that requires a collaboration between ourselves and the National Water Commission in order to ensure that we create the facility for them to restore the water, but also do some quick remedial work. As you see here, we are putting some aggregate on the road and clearing some of the overhead damage to ensure persons have the ability to traverse these areas. Some of the key preliminary assessments that we have done, our major highways and key bridges remain largely intact. Our pre-storm drain and gully cleaning reduced flooding in some urban areas, and we were able to rapidly open critical corridors with the coordination from local contractors and our local teams, as well as other entities such as ODPEM and the Jamaica Defence Force. But there are some weaknesses that we have identified. Secondary river roads have been severely eroded or washed out. We need to start looking at, as a part of our building for resilience, adequate slope protection, because a lot of the landslides were caused because we did not have adequate slope protection in hilly interior. And we have to look at our drainage systems as these events, even though you cannot plan for a category 5, over time we've realized that our drains are not able to accommodate the runoff that comes from certain types of weather events that are becoming more frequent. And we also have a challenge where power and communications infrastructure along roadways were impacted. So we're working with Jamaica Public Service Company to ensure that we can help them to remove some of these power lines and poles that have fallen. In terms of strategies for the future, we're going to have to upgrade our roads and bridges using climate resilience standards and expand drainage and implement slope stabilization projects, and also strengthen our public-private partnerships for rapid response. And we're also going to have to do more rapid real-time monitoring and GIS-based risk mapping of areas that we consider vulnerable. And we're going to also have to employ resilience planning in all our infrastructure projects. The government has, well, Cabinet has decided that preliminarily we will be spending $5 billion through the National Works Agency to, 1, reopen roads, including some drain cleaning, $1 billion for road repairs, and this is just emergency road repairs, and also $2 billion for repairs to gullies, particularly the Sandy Gully, the North and South Gully and their tributaries, as well as some minor culverts, gullies, and fordings across the island. And we have received Cabinet permission to spend $5 billion on that. I want to advise, though, that while we are going to be spending $5 billion, the cost preliminarily that we have seen in terms of damage to our road infrastructure is about $35 billion. But we have not yet completed our assessments, so we expect that that figure will increase over time. And that is my update on the work that we've been doing, as well as the preliminary costing of the damage to our infrastructure. Thank you very much, Dr. Dana-Dixon.
Thank you very much, Minister Morgan. And I know the team has been working very hard. You see the work everywhere, including in very, very rural parts that I was in yesterday. I see the work of the NWA team. Up next, as we try to close out, I know that Minister Vaz, you had wanted to address a particular matter. We did have a comprehensive update from Minister Vaz, but I do know that you want to address a particular situation that's been making the rounds. So, Minister Vaz, whose birthday is it? Is it Minister Vaz's birthday? Oh! We'll soon sing for you.
Morning to everyone. A quick update. As I gave a comprehensive one 2 days ago, but just out of transparency and good communication. Recovery efforts continue. As we know, today's update will outline the latest restoration activities and continued work with our partners. Energy, as of this morning, 67% of JPS customers, representing 686,000 households and businesses, have had power restored across the island. 77% of major private and public hospitals have been restored, And the JPS, I understand, is having a detailed press conference at 2 p.m. today, which is why they're not here. So I will leave the better and more specific details to them. Happy to know that they are now having their own press conferences on a regular basis because the people want to know what's happening with the light restoration. Digicel has brought back 60% of its mobile network, while fixed business services remain at 89% and 75% respectively. Current focus is now on Hanover, where teams are working to improve performance, and in St. Anne's Bay, Runaway Bay and Discovery Bay, where crews are rebuilding and re-strengthening fixed network connections. 8 sites are scheduled for rebuilding within the next 2 weeks, and technicians are realigning the microwave antennas to restore traffic routing from the grill, which is expected to be completed within 2 to 3 days. Also, the Starlink backhauls installations remain ongoing, and plans are underway to redeploy a connection point in North Trelawney to strengthen reconnection efforts. However, the mobile site deployment in Waitabit, Trelawney remains on hold pending landlord clearance. Flow reports continued improvement in both fixed and mobile services. Approximately 75% of fixed sites are now operational, and commercial power stabilizes in more areas. Since Wednesday, November 12, 67 additional network nodes were restored, bringing fixed customer connectivity to 53% island-wide. Restoration has been strengthened along key corridors, such as Port Antonio to Anota Bay, Mandeville to Santa Cruz, and Port Antonio to Morant Bay, while further work continues on the Ocho Rios to Spanish Town, Falmouth, Montego Bay, and Mandeville Maypen routes to expand access and stability. On the mobile sites, 58% of sites are now back online, representing approximately 90% of re-hurricane mobile traffic. Service has been restored in several affected communities, including Darliston and Little London in Westmoreland, Bonnygate and Charlestown in St. Mary, Boston Bay in Portland, Kellett's, Crawfield, and New Bowen in Clarendon, and Prattville in Manchester. Airports. Both airports continue to remain fully operational, with Montego Bay getting back light yesterday or the day before. Sangster continues to have scheduled flights and relief flights, and therefore that is excellent news. As was indicated before, we are now seeing the seaside of relief coming in now, as the seaports are now open and container vessels have started to arrive as early as Sunday, and I understand one arrived in Montego Bay on yesterday. So that, along with the cargo relief flights that are coming into Norman Manley and Montego Bay and Ian Fleming, means that the relief efforts will continue, especially humanitarian. Let me take time out just to indicate that there was an unfortunate post yesterday by a musician indicating that there were some wrongdoings in relation to the cargo that came for relief. While I welcome all efforts and attempts for persons to help in small, medium, and large ways, fact of the matter is that we must have an accountable system. And I want to publicly state today, without fear of contradiction, that I did an overnight investigation, including cameras and including the custom broker who handled the shipment. And I want to make it very clear that the shipment left the airport intact as it came, fully wrapped, and everything that was there left the airport in the custody of to a warehouse in Spanish Town, which the government has no involvement in whatsoever. So as far as what we did in terms of making sure that the goods that were meant for the people, the poor suffering people, were delivered. And I want to thank all of the airport staff that continue to work so tirelessly under the worst strain and pressure to make sure that we manage all of these cargo flights in a smooth and efficient manner. I am the first one to say that it's not perfect. because we are now overburdened with more flights than we normally expect. However, we are doing our best, and I'm going to ask for everybody to please just do what you are doing and do so in the best interest of the people of Jamaica, and do not cause mischief or nuisance, because I will be there to defend the government as long as it is on the seaside or the port side. Absolute rubbish was posted, and I say so without fear of contradiction. And anybody who wants, come to me and I will give you the evidence. We will investigate any case and every case because we want transparency and accountability. What we don't want is mischief and nuisance, and that's what was posted last night. God bless Jamaica.
Thank you, Minister Vaz. That was some quick investigating, and I think there are some images on screen that are being shown as we get to the question part. So I just needed to give a couple quick updates on education. A lot of our schools are severely damaged. Over 600 of them are. Yesterday I was in Trelawney and St. James, and a lot of schools have suffered tremendous damage. Some schools just don't exist anymore. I went to one school where not one room can be used. So we're going to have to be very creative in trying to get school back. The principals are working really hard with cleanup. They've already started with members of the community. As I went around to schools yesterday, there were people from Kingston, from St. Catherine. I had football teams that were there that were working to help to clean the schools. And so the schools have started to clean up, especially in the west, but they need some more support. And so the Ministry of Education is very pleased to provide, through the cabinet, grants to all of our schools that were affected in the west with cleanup grants. Some have more cleanup to do than others. Many have already started, and so we're just supporting that activity. The grants will be from $300,000 to $1 million, depending on how much cleanup they're doing. And so those will start going out to the schools starting tomorrow. And so I thank the team at the ministry, especially our CFO, for making sure that those funds can get to the schools as quickly as possible. In addition to that, I just wanted to note the amount of donations. ODPEM, you owe us the donations from the account, but in terms of the website and from credit card transactions, we are, as at 2:03 a.m. today, we had a total of $1.13 million deposited or contributed, and also 55.850 million Jamaican dollars in donations there. On the website, the Support Jamaica website, there's also a new feature that was launched today, and that is a new streamlined relief shipment portal on Support Jamaica. And this will enable anyone sending humanitarian aid to Jamaica through ODPEM to complete all the required forms in one place. You have to do an ODPEM form, you have to do a civil aviation form. We're putting them all together. So whether you're consigning goods by air or sea, the portal captures donor details, invoice and packing lists, etc. that's needed by ODPEM. And customs will also have their documentation there that will be given in that one place, and then also the information needed by the Civil Aviation Authority or the Maritime Authority of Jamaica will be all there. So we're consolidating, we're making the process a lot more efficient so that you don't have to go to multiple places and fill out multiple forms. So that's a new feature on the site, and we'll be working with donors who want to send things to Jamaica to use that portal to make their lives so much more easy. Back to schools, I should have noted 665 schools are opened as at yesterday. So we're getting the numbers up. In the West, we have a lot of challenges in the West, but we are working through those, and we're hoping that within the next 2 weeks, at least all students who have external exams, whether it's CSEC, CAPE, or PEP, will be back. So we're prioritizing those students in the West. It will take some time to rebuild schools, but we do need to get those particular students out as quickly as we can while we look at our temporary structures. I think those are all the updates. I will go to the questions for those who are here first, and then I have some that were sent in online. All right, microphone here. Who's treating with microphones today? Is there no one dealing with microphones? All right, please stand, say your name and your entity.
Good morning, Adira Truth from Roots 96.1 FM.
Nice to have Roots here.
Thank you. My question is to Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark, given the repeated aquifer-driven flooding in areas such as Content, is the Water Resources Authority recommending any technical limits or guidelines on development in those zones?
Good morning, and thanks for your question. The fact is that whenever an application for development is made, I think it's made to the municipal corporations, it's made to the parish councils basically. And then because the parish councils inherently will not have all the expertise in-house, they then pass those applications around. So they'll go to the fire brigade, they'll go to the health, they'll come to water resources, they'll go to NEPA, wherever. And a part of the WRA's response is to analyze the application, analyze the area that it is, and then make a recommendation. So the recommendations do come from, there are recommendations that come from the Water Resources Authority, whether an area is flood prone, so care needs to be taken, whether the area is, for instance, a fault, because we do monitor this sort of thing, if there's a fault or a fault line in the area, whatever it is. So the recommendations are made, and then now it is then now the final decisions are made otherwise elsewhere, and that is what happens. But essentially speaking, there is a very robust development process that is here in Jamaica.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next question.
Good morning, everyone. Katie Paul from NCUFM News. I have 3 questions. One for...
3. Okay, remember we have to be quick, but yes. Go ahead, give us the 3.
So, for Minister Samuda, how has the hurricane-affected initiative to implement renewable energy to power water systems, and how soon can NWC...
Can you repeat that question, the first one?
Yes, so how has the hurricane-affected initiative to implement renewable energy to power water systems, and how soon can NWC get back to that? For ODPEM, in light of the climate change and repeated storms, are there any plans to update Jamaica's National Disaster Preparedness Framework or introduce new technology for early warning and coordination? And for Minister Dixon, you talked about the schools that were completely destroyed. Are there any plans to revise school construction standards to make them more climate resilient?
Yes. All right, thank you, Minister.
The NWC is the single largest consumer of energy in Jamaica as an entity, meaning we are also the single largest customer of the JPS. It means JPS's stability is also tied to NWC's stability and consumption, meaning if NWC was to wholesalely remove itself from JPS, bills would actually rise to the remaining customers on the grid. However, as a part of Jamaica's NDCs being its nationally determined contributions towards its climate change mitigation efforts, one of the areas that we will reduce our energy consumption by bringing on renewables is indeed NWC. And this is being carefully selected for areas where it's appropriate so to do, meaning sufficient land space either for wind or solar, and in some cases changing our fuel source and generating source, being using LNG for areas such as Gutters and Pepper, which has the deepest well, second deepest well in Jamaica, and one of the most expensive pumping units. So yes, we are bringing on renewable energy. We would have brought on renewable energy with the commissioning of a new solar park at our Red Hills pumping station, which serves that general area, I think going up to about Swain Spring, right, Delano, somewhere in that general area. So we're already pumping using renewables. We expect to commence construction on our floating solar system at the Mona Reservoir, which will bring some 45 megawatts onto the grid sometime early next year. So we are well advanced in bringing on renewable sources, but we're also well advanced at engaging other suppliers for LNG-related solutions, which also bring down the emissions because it's a cleaner source of fuel, and we're working with JPS for other microgrid type solutions. So it's a full suite of energy projects, which also include the purchase of over $1 billion of new efficient pumps, as many of the pumps that we use are 70 and 80 years old, so are particularly inefficient in terms of their power consumption. Thank you. To the climate change question before Commander Gale comes. Jamaica has completed its national adaptation plan and intends to file it to the UNFCCC very soon as per the programs. Now that national adaptation plan determines how strong our resilience is, how our infrastructure is to the risks that we face. We're also now using what's called the JSTRAT. It is the Jamaica Systemic Risk Assessment Tool, which is housed at PIOG and runs on a supercomputer. So Jamaica was the first nation on earth to evaluate the climate risk to all of its infrastructure. And that is both private and public infrastructure. So we've taken all the thousands of data points of JPS, the thousands of data points from the airports, from the NWC, from your banks, etc., from our coastline to determine what the climatic risk is. And that feeds into the disaster risk management plan.
All right, as as Commander comes up, there are some other questions for you, Commander. So just noting, I will just give them to you after.
All right, happy. So as with any event of this nature, a significant after-action review will be committed, and through that we'll then determine what parts of our processes need to change, and then what technology we need to be brought on board. So we can expect that robust after-action review process to be engaged shortly after we've been able to settle a little bit. Thank you.
All right. While you are here, let me find those questions that are specifically for you. Hold on, let me get back to them. Just need to find them. There was a long list of them. Here we are. Some residents across communities in Northwest St. Elizabeth have complained that no relief supplies have been delivered in these areas by authorities. That's from the Gleaner. The other one is, are there areas that are still marooned? And then the next one is, as far as you're aware, are there uncollected bodies in any community impacted by the hurricane? So Northwest St. Elizabeth, marooned, and unclaimed bodies.
Right, so I'm not tracking that we have not been able to reach all communities, but I will relook at the distribution plan to ensure that we get very, very granular. As we move into this phase of the relief efforts, I would have mentioned in the earlier discourse today the number of hubs, warehouses, the 22 locations being manned by the JDF, and I'll also add that there are further plans to get farther into the communities as they open up. So whilst we might be dropping in larger population areas, I could understand that maybe some smaller subsets. So we look at that. At the moment, there are no maroon communities as described on Tuesday, i.e. communities where there is no vehicular access. I'm tracking at the moment that we have access to all communities, and I'm not tracking any reports of any uncollected bodies at the moment.
All right, thank you. I think those were all the questions I have for you. I had a question on schools and the construction of schools, which I should answer. It's a very good question. Many of our schools that I've seen that sustained damage, what made me quite unhappy was the fact that last year after Hurricane Beryl, some of those very schools were repaired. And 1 year later, we're back at repairing them. So that raises questions for me about the quality of work that would have been done. And it also raises other questions about standards and the standards of our schools. And so I've asked some of our multilateral partners to work with us to look at the building standards around schools, because it's not acceptable that you have a hurricane 1 year and you fix it, and then the next year you're back at it again. And so we will be doing that work. We have to build schools that are climate resilient. There are many schools that have done a tremendous job. They're trying to help themselves, and they'll add a classroom here and a classroom there, or they'll do some work on a new hall or something like that. And in many instances, as I've gone around, a lot of those have been destroyed. And so as we move forward, we're going to have to ensure that even where schools are doing their own fundraising and building structures, that they are built within particular standards. So your question is quite apt because we have to get climate resilient schools in our country. All right. RGR.
Good morning, Camille Williams from Radio Jamaica / Television Jamaica. The question I have is for Commander Gale. Commander, you said that there are 146,000 structures that sustained major or severe damage in the hurricane. The question I have is how many are houses and how many of those are in the West? All right? And then the other question I have, how many families are now homeless and how many people do you have down as being homeless now?
All right, Commander.
So I can repeat.
So I did mention about 146,000 structures having access to have major to severe damage. We're still going through the process now of delineating which were businesses, which were homes. As you can appreciate, this was done through geospatial data. So it has to be parsed and verified on the ground. But I'll ask the team, they have started looking into it. I'm tracking, however, just about 90,000 households affected and 360 persons impacted in terms of the persons.
360 or 360K?
360K, sorry. I did make that mistake on Tuesday as well.
And then also the numbers of buildings. I think you gave the wrong number.
Yeah, I did say 130
yes.
on Tuesday, so I meant 130,000.
Thank you.
So indicated here the 146,000. In terms of numbers of homeless, that is still being assessed. And I believe Minister has some fresh information. Okay,
we'll get that number for you.
But as I mentioned before, in shelters, just about 1,400 persons in shelters as of today.
All right. I have one here for you too, since you are here. Between you or Minister Mackenzie, you could answer this, and this is from the Gleaner. There's a question about number of disabled persons in shelters as well as infants. Do we have those numbers? And if you don't, can you provide that to the Gleaner, please? Sure, come, Minister.
Good morning, everybody. I don't want to give the information which is incomplete. We have just completed the assessment. I just received the information, and I want to be sure before we put this information out. So this information will be provided as soon as we have gone through and have verified all the information that is presented here. So we have it, we have an idea what the numbers are, but as I said before, we want to be precise when we give the numbers.
All right, so all those questions that were asked that you didn't get your precise numbers, we will work with Minister Mackenzie and ODPEM and send them to you directly. All right, I think those are all the questions we have today, and we are at the end of today's update. And just to note again, there are a lot of Jamaicans that are hurting. There are a lot of Jamaicans that don't have a place over their head. Yesterday, as I saw a little boy, it was a little girl, she came over to me and she was talking to me and she just hugged me. And she said, "My house mashed down." And she said it several times to me. And she was staying with family in Trelawney because she's from St. James. And there are a lot of children, a lot of adults who are going through a lot of trauma right now. And you feel it heavy in Jamaica. But we just have to do what we can to support everyone. Things aren't perfect. They're definitely not perfect. There are people in St. James with mud all over their house. There are other places that are worried about the rain. I was at Cornwall College yesterday, and one of the young teenagers, very tall and handsome, said the night before, when they heard the rain and the wind, they thought the hurricane had come again. There is a lot of trauma out there, and we just do what we can as government, as people, to support everybody who is hurting. And I thank all of the volunteers that have been going all over Jamaica and supporting these communities that need their support. Every time you take goods to them, or you take any building supplies to them, or you show up with prayers, it means something. And so thank you to all of Jamaica. We have to continue doing this work. It's a long slog ahead. And so we pray for everybody who's been affected and all those who are helping, and we continue to pray for Jamaica, land we love. Thank you very much.
Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, the Minister of Information, Education, Skills and Youth. It's 19 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. We just saw the conclusion of this morning's media briefing on Hurricane Melissa fallout from Jamaica House. I'm Cliff Hughes. We're going to continue now with Cliff Hughes Online.
Cliff Hughes Online. Talk radio for all Jamaicans.
My hands were steady.